Welcome back to Up Front and our look at the politics ahead in 2015. We're joined by John Nichols, Associate Editor of the Capital Times, and Christian Schneider, columnist for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. So, are we going to have a big battle over right-to-work legislation, or has that just been a trial balloon that's been floated and maybe will not see the light of day at the end of this process?
I think we probably will look at this issue. It'll probably come forward. There's no question that Scott Walker wisely doesn't want it to come up.
You don't think there's any wink and a nod here? The guy who once proposed right-to-work legislation doesn't want it?
Well, with all due respect, if I took you through a lot of the things Scott Walker proposed back in the 1990s, you would see a little bit of reticence there. But here's where the problem is. Right-to-work is a race to the bottom. It is an acknowledgement that a state wants to get in a fight to compete at the lowest levels of economic development rather than trying to be the cutting edge of the 21st century. And I don't think that Scott Walker, who has tremendous national ambitions, really necessarily sees that as the way to go after a first term in which job growth was slower than neighboring states. There were a lot of problems. When he says that right to work is a distraction, he's right. He's absolutely right. Now, there's no question, however, that there's a tremendous amount of national money, national encouragement for it. And you have some Republican legislators competing to be the next guy if Scott Walker heads off to something else. And so I think it'll come up. And then it's going to get very, very interesting because Republicans are going to have to decide if this is what they want to be. In the long term, the anti-labor party, the kind of race to the bottom political party of Wisconsin. And I'm not sure all Republicans even are fully comfortable with that.
Give me your sense of how this issue plays out.
It's kind of interesting right now because the bill is almost in a catch-22. You have it in the state Senate, who said they're going to bring it up quickly, but in order to get it through the state Senate, you're going to have to water it down, I'm sure, maybe even exempt some unions from the bill, which is a terrible idea, possibly illegal idea. But you have the Assembly over here that will pass it, but will not pass it unless it's a clean bill. So it's kind of stuck. You have to water it down in the Senate, but you can't water it down in the Assembly. So I think you'll see it'll be a few months, maybe after the budget, but I think you're going to see it at some point. And the people in the Assembly that I've talked to have said, get ready because 60,000 Teamsters looks a lot different than 60,000 teachers marching on the Capitol. So it's going to be a fight, I think.
Do you think that there would be that kind of public outrage, or is organized labor, frankly, somewhat depressed about the events of recent years, and going through this whole thing again just seems like, oh man, here we go again?
Well, I think there's a little of all those elements, but the reality is that this is a big deal. And there's a reason why 300, I think it's 300 contractors and others have come forward saying, please don't do this. This isn't just about labor. This is about severely damaging Wisconsin in a whole bunch of ways for the purposes of impressing some people in Washington. And the fact
so the argument is you got to be competitive with Iowa, you got to be competitive with Michigan or Indiana.
I'd like to be competitive with California and with Washington State, with places that are doing all sorts of incredible things globally and really having an impact. And this notion of that Wisconsin always has to do less, be less, kind of lower our standards again and again and again to compete. I'm a Wisconsinite. I don't believe that.
I'll give you a couple of seconds here.
Well, yeah, 24 states already have it, including Michigan and Indiana just passed it in 2012. You mentioned we're growing a lot slower rate than a lot of our neighboring states. Well, some of those neighboring states, like Iowa, also have right to work. So I would rather those jobs be here than overseas.
Let me switch gears a little bit and talk about political campaigns. We have a Supreme Court race in 2015, and we have one announced candidate, Rock County Circuit Court Judge James Daley, taking on the incumbent, Ann Walsh Bradley. But some people are surprised there isn't another conservative in that race. Are you surprised about that, Christian Schneider? There's not another conservative candidate in addition to Judge Daley?
I'm a little surprised. After I talked to kind of the GOP, cognoscenti after Pat Roggensack won a couple of years ago, immediately they said Ann Walsh Bradley is on the radar. So this has been something that they've been thinking a lot about in the last couple of years. She is kind of a lightning rod. She was the one that accused another justice of putting his hands on her neck a couple of years ago during all the Capitol stuff that was going on. So she's been on the radar. I'd be surprised if we don't have somebody else step in here soon.
Do you still think there's that possibility?
I think that there's the possibility. They'd have to get in soon, but I
Well,
think
they have
would.
until the first week in January,
Right.
and so it's just a few days. Gathering your signatures on Christmas is always tough. but what I would say is, I think there is a recognition that, on the part of a lot of folks, that Ann Walsh Bradley is actually an incredibly capable candidate. She's done very, very well in her past races, and she's somebody who takes this seriously. And I don't think that everybody's wanting, kind of at this point to jump in. That said, we have developed such infrastructure around these Supreme Court races now that whoever the candidate against Ann Walsh Bradley is likely to have a lot of money. And
You could put it together pretty quickly.
That's what I would suggest.
Yeah. Final political possibility. This is the reemergence of Russ Feingold into Wisconsin politics. He's off working on issues that are important to him in Central Africa right now. But that job will be over soon, and there's a lot of speculation that he will take on Senator Ron Johnson in a rematch of their 2010 race. John, you're fairly close to the Feingold folks. Is that going to happen? What do you think?
I talk to him now and again. I never speak for Russ Feingold because he keeps his counsel very close. But what I would suggest is that you see a lot of things happening around the state that indicate that they're sort of getting the band back together. And a lot of Feingold folks are talking about the prospect that he may well make a 2016 run. I would say right now that I anticipate that is likely. I anticipate that it's likely because Russ Feingold, in addition to being this very principled guy and sometimes portrayed as a maverick, is a very savvy political player who understands that 2016 presidential year is likely to be a pretty good year. If you're going to make a comeback, it's hard to imagine a better year than 2016 in which to do it.
Is Ron Johnson vulnerable in 2016 if Russ Feingold's the candidate?
Yeah, I mean, just given the natural cycle of elections here in Wisconsin, 2016 is going to be a tricky year. With all respect to F. Scott Fitzgerald, there don't seem to be a whole lot of second acts in Wisconsin politics. You just need to look at Tommy Thompson last year. I mean, when voters are kind of done with you, they're kind of done with you. And we've had some state senate candidates who lose and then come back and don't even make it out of primaries. So I'm skeptical that the public would suddenly refine their love for Russ Feingold.
Tell that to gubernatorial loser Pat Lucy.
I've got just a few seconds left. I'm going to take one final break. We'll be back. We'll talk about some rising stars to watch in 2015. And remember, you can weigh in on the topics of the day by liking and sharing up front on Facebook.